I need you to understand, this isn't a ghost story. Ghosts are predictable. Ghosts follow rules. What happened to me, what's still happening, defies rules. Defies sense. I'm writing this from a motel 200 miles from my old life, and even now, I can feel it breathing down my neck. But I'll start at the beginning. It was the rats that drove me to Blackwater. Not literal rats. The other kind. Loan sharks. Bad decisions. A divorce that left me couch surfing at 38. When I saw the ad for a caretaker at the old Harper estate, free lodging, decent pay, no questions asked, I didn't hesitate. The town was a speck on the map, population 87, nestled in a valley so deep the sun only touched it at noon. Perfect. The house was wrong. Not crumbling. Not haunted. Just wrong. It sat at the edge of a pine forest, 3 stories of gray stone and sagging porches. The kind of place that watches you. Mrs. Harper, the owner, was a wisp of a woman in her 90s. She met me at the door, clutching a rusted key, and said, "You'll hear things at night. Don't answer. Don't look. Just let them pass." I laughed. She didn't. The first week was uneventful. My job was simple. Keep the house clean, fix what I could, and avoid the West Wing. Mrs. Harper claimed it was unstable, but the lock on that hallway was newer than the house itself, thick steel, like a vault. Curiosity gnawed at me, but I followed orders. Then came the scratching. Not in the walls. Behind the mirrors. Every night, around 3 a.m., it'd start, a slow, deliberate scraping, like fingernails dragging across glass. I'd press my ear to the bathroom mirror, heart pounding, but the sound always stopped. One morning, I unscrewed the mirror. Behind it, etched into the plaster, was a single word. When I told myself it was a prank. Kids breaking in, maybe. But there were no kids in Blackwater. Just old farmers and a gas station clerk who refused to make eye contact. Things got stranger. I'd wake to find my shoes tied together in impossible knots. My reflection in the hallway mirror would flicker, blink, and for a split second, I'd see someone else. A man with hollow eyes and a mouth stitched shut. Then, normal. The townsfolk avoided me. When I asked about the house at the diner, the waitress dropped my coffee and whispered, "Harper's got a taste for debtors." Debtors. I'd signed a contract. 6 months of caretaking in exchange for wiping my debts clean. Too good to be true. One sleepless night, I broke into the West Wing. The lock gave way with a crowbar. The hallway beyond was pristine, untouched by dust. Portraits lined the walls, generations of Harpers, all with the same sunken cheeks and 2 wide smiles. At the end of the hall, a door stood ajar. Inside, a study. Ledgers filled the shelves. Not financial records. Names. Hundreds, maybe thousands, dating back to 1823. Next to each name, a date, an amount owed, and a single word, collected. My name was there too. Jason Vickers, $87,450 collected, the date beside it, tomorrow. I ran to Mrs. Harper's cottage. Pounded on the door. No answer. Through the window, I saw her slumped in her armchair, eyes open, skin gray. She'd been dead for days. Back at the house, the scratching became screaming. Human screaming. It came from the mirrors. All of them. I smashed the bathroom glass with a wrench, and that's when I saw it, a face pressed against the other side, mouth stretched in a silent howl. Not the stitched man. Me. My own face, gaunt and bleeding, clawing at the glass. The reflection mouthed, "He's coming." I packed my truck. Didn't care about the debt. Didn't care about anything but getting out. But the road changed. Familiar landmarks vanished. The forest closed in, trees leaning like crooked teeth. My GPS spiraled. I drove for hours, dawn never breaking, until the truck sputtered and died. Out of gas. Out of hope. That's when I saw the lights. A cabin. Smoke curling from the chimney. An old man sat on the porch, whittling. I begged for help. He didn't look up. "You shouldn't have signed, son," he said. "Harper don't deal in money. He deals in flesh. The rest is fragments." Running back to the house. The west wing door swinging open. A figure in the study, tall, skeletal, wearing a suit made of shadows. Mrs. Harper's corpse propped in a chair beside him, grinning. "You owe," the shadow man hissed. His voice was the scratch of pen on paper, the creak of a noose. I lunged for the ledger, tore out the page with my name. It burst into ash. The scream that followed wasn't human. The mirrors shattered. The house twisted, walls bleeding black sludge, floors buckling. I ran. Didn't stop until I hit the highway. Voiceover cracks, raw with fear. They say debt follows you. They're wrong. It leads. I'm in the motel now. The mirrors are covered. But sometimes, in the corner of my eye, I see him, the stitched mouth man. Closer each time. And the ledger, I found it in my bag this morning. My name's back. Jason Vickers, $0 collected. The date is blank. If you're reading this, don't trust easy fixes. Don't sign anything. And if you hear scratching behind the glass, don't look.